Hey, what's up? It's your boy Serrano. Welcome back to another video. Hope all is well. So today we're actually going to be comparing the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2025 up against the Samsung Galaxy A36. And so we're going to just basically jump into both of these devices. I honestly think that they're both extremely powerful and offer an enormous amount of features for the price of $399, which they're both deadlocked at. If you get them both brand new, obviously you can get them for a lot cheaper in certain stores, but the price is basically going to be that locked in $399 price point if you purchase them on Amazon. I'll make sure I leave the cheapest links down below, but make sure you guys stay locked in to the end of the video because we're actually going to be comparing both of these devices, going through the displays, the battery, the performance, the cameras, the hardware, and overall like user friendliness and things of that sort. But make sure you guys stay locked in to the end of the video. I truly appreciate you for coming through if you're new, but if you're already a part of the crew, salute. So the first thing I wanted to show you was what comes inside the box for both of these. Obviously, it's not going to be much. They both have the recyclable materials inside. The Moto is going to give you everything from the charging cable, which is inside of here. It's like a black charging cable inside the box, all white box with the SIM removal pin in there. And then it also does pack in here certain informational materials that might interest you or might not. So you do have, you know, the regulatory and safety inside of there, and then you also do have wedged all the way at the bottom your Moto Care. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that comes in the Moto device. Now inside of the Samsung device, it seems like we have the exact same setup. I don't know if these companies are just mimicking each other and kind of bouncing off of each other when it comes to certain aspects of the presentation, which it looks like they are. So you have the terms, conditions, as well as your guide here for volume and basically all different sorts of information about the codecs and you know, Wi-Fi and things of that sort, and what the compatibility is as far as the networks. You also do have your cable right here with the SIM remover tool on the outside of the box. Now, when we're talking battery life from both of these devices, they're both 5,000 milliamp per hour batteries. So I've been using both of these phones with my SIM card in them all day long. They both have similar battery when it comes to the battery life. I have been using the Samsung a lot more just because that's my personal phone and I'm using the Moto as my work phone. And so, yeah, when it comes to the, you know, battery, it's going to be really close. When I updated the Moto G Stylus to the last security update, I noticed improvements when it comes to the battery life. So it's definitely doing a lot better when it comes to the overall battery life with this device. I'm definitely, if you returned your Moto 25, you should probably consider, you know, getting it back, just because, you know, I haven't had any issues the last week with this device updated with that security patch of July. Let me know if you guys got the security patch for July, but it's made a substantial difference when it comes to the overall battery life on here. So I have noticed that it does last way longer throughout the day. And so, yeah, we're going to jump into some more detail with these devices. But if you're still here, just type down in the comment section, I'm still here, so I know you're still kicking it with me. And I just want to remind you to hit the like button so we can get this video out to more people and help beat the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so let's talk the build quality with both of these devices. Ironically, they're both 6.7 inches when it comes to the height. They're about the same width. When I hold them in my hand, it kind of feels like the Moto G Stylus is a little bit thinner, but when you turn them to the side, we have that more squared off, more flat side on the the Samsung, they do appear to have similar as far as the dimensions. Like they seem to have that similar dimensions of, you know, height, width, and depth. But you're going to notice that the Samsung A36 is actually 6.9 ounces and the Moto G25 is 6.7 ounces. So barely noticeable when it comes to the weight. However, on the scale, the Moto is going to top up just a little bit lower. So the 36 is going to top up at 6.9 and the Moto is going to top up at 6.7. Another interesting thing to note is that both of these devices have really solid feel in the hand. So you do get your two microphones up top on the A36 located right here on this side, one microphone right here on the Moto. Turning it to this side, we both have your volume rocker power buttons right there. On the bottom, we're actually going to get your S Pen on the Moto. We also have dual speakers on both of these devices, dual microphones on the bottom of the Samsung, and a single microphone on the Moto. And then, you know, your headphone jack on the Moto, which does give you an advantage. You could use the headphone jack on the Moto. I just want to mention that. And so obviously both of these do have SIM cards in them. If I go ahead and show you the other side right here, you could see that when I pop out the SIM, I have my T-Mobile SIM in there. And then it also does give me the option to expand the storage on the Moto, which is actually pretty cool. And then, hold on, I dropped my... Wow, I just lost the SIM remover tool in the carpet. I'm gonna have to look for that. So I just grabbed a new one. So yeah, if I pull out the SIM slot on the bottom of the 36 right here, I just wanted to show you we don't have expansion, just the SIM card. So, you know, the Samsung A36 actually doesn't have the headphone jack or the SIM card expansion, which is very interesting, considering both of these devices are particularly the price the same. So that's going to be something that you should note. If you're wanting to pick up both of these devices, either one of these devices, the Moto will have the headphone jack. It also will have the SIM card expansion as well. Another advantage of the Moto is it's going to have this really cool feature right here, which is actually a pen that you can write with and take notes with. You could draw, sketch, do a whole lot of stuff with this. This is going to be really cool and useful for people who are note takers, artists, anything like that. I definitely think this S Pen or stylus is going to come in handy for people who are looking for something extra from a phone that's kind of stands out from the rest. The other thing to mention is that you're getting IP67 water and dust on the A36, and you're actually getting IP68 military standard 810H on the Moto G Stylus. So that's another advantage with the Moto G Stylus, is that it's actually IP68 versus the IP67 on the Galaxy A36. Now, if we work our way to the front of the phones, we will get to the cameras later on, so make sure you stay locked in. But we have an AOD and always on display on the Samsung, and we actually have a, wake screen on the Moto. And one of the things that I did to conserve battery on this Moto device is actually, what I did was I actually, right here, I think it is, lock screen. So this thing does have the option where you can wake the screen for notifications, but you also do have that notification system on the Moto. Let me show you real fast. So you get this screen right here for the Moto, which displays your notifications when you tap it, when you lift it, or when you move it. I actually turned off the option where you move it, it turns on, and when you raise it, because I found that when I was driving and every time I hit a bump, the screen would come on, which would drain the battery a little bit more. And so I disabled that feature because I noticed that when I had that turned off, it increased the battery by almost like 20 more percent throughout the day. So yeah, that's another way you could actually save battery on the Moto G Stylus 2025. Now, as far as the security on both of these devices, we actually have an in-display fingerprint on the Samsung device. And on the Moto, we also have an in-display fingerprint sensor, which is crazy. So yeah, these both have in-display fingerprint sensors. Let's go ahead and do a test real fast to see which one's quicker. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the A36 went to sleep. Let me see if I could do that again. It seems like the Moto is a lot faster. Let's do that one more time. Okay, again, the Moto took it, and let's do that one more time. So slightly quicker on the Moto. We also do have face unlock on both of these. So I turned that off on the Moto to save battery as well, because when I'm driving and looking at the phone, it tends to come on and unlock, like when I have it on the with the tripod thing that sticks to the windshield. Every time it hits a bump, it unlocks, because it wakes up and then it sees my face and then it unlocks. But yeah, both of these devices will also have facial recognition. So the way that I turned off that lock screen feature where it has it's called the sleep display, and it's found in the lock screen. So if you go to sleep display, you can see that I have tap to show, lift to show, and move to show. So I just turned off these two so that when I tap the display, it wakes up to that always on display. But you have that option to move it and have it show, or lift it to show as well. So yeah, that's one of the things I did to actually conserve battery on this phone. So let's take a closer look at the displays. I'm gonna go ahead and raise the brightness on these. Right now, listen to some smooth Coltrane jazz right now on the A36 while I'm playing this video. So, just kind of vibing out, but they're both at max brightness right now. And it appears that the A36 just looks a little bit brighter. I'm not sure why. You have the auto brightness on both of these devices right here. And yeah, if I put the auto brightness back on the A36, you could just see right here, the colors look a little bit more brighter. The screen just looks a little bit brighter. I'm not sure why, but yeah, based off just the first look, like while I'm looking at them, it just appears that way. But yeah, they both have really good panels as far as the displays on both of these devices. They both give you that punch hole cutout, which is crazy to look at. So the wallpaper app I always like to use and I just want to show you the punch hole cutout on here, Wall Candy. I just want to find an app, a wallpaper that gives me the option to see the phone a little bit more. This one is a vibe. This one's wavy. So let's just go ahead and put this on as the home screen. I just set that so you can see the cutout is very good on both of these devices. It's really good. They both have really good displays, but obviously you could just see that the Samsung has a brighter display when you look at it. So that's probably going to be an advantage if you want a display that's going to be a little bit brighter. But let's go through some of the features of both of these devices when it comes to the displays. So this is the difference. You have a Super AMOLED panel on the A36. I believe they also do have like the Super AMOLED or AMOLED panel on the G Stylus. I'm not sure if it's Super or AMOLED, but yeah, they're both AMOLED. Then you're getting the 19:5:9 aspect ratio on the A36, whereas you get the 20:9 aspect ratio on the Moto. So the other thing is that with the Moto, I'm reading the specs here, it says 1220 by 2712, which is a weird number. So slightly lower, because you get 1220 times 2712 on the Moto, but 1080 times 2340 on the Galaxy. And then the pixels per inch, you're actually getting 444 on the Moto versus 385. So on the spec sheet, it appears as though the Moto is gonna have a slightly better panel, but it looks like it's getting brighter on the Samsung. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. And then the other thing is that both of these devices do have 120 hertz refresh rate. You're also going to get a 240 touch sampling rate on the Moto. The A36 is going to have Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, whereas the Moto only has Gorilla Glass 3, which is like really old. Even the Note 4 from way back in like 10 years ago had the Gorilla Glass 3. So kind of wish that Moto went with like a more up-to-date glass like the Samsung. But yeah, just keep that in mind when it comes to looking at the glass on both of these devices. So let's take a closer look at these displays for a second and see which one looks better when we're watching video. All right, so I'm gonna press play on both. For some reason, you can see that the brightness is all the way up on both. I don't know why it looks so much more brighter than it does on the Samsung, but it looks brighter. It looks way brighter. Let's do this. And you can see what I'm talking about. It just looks way brighter. I even have it peaked out on the Moto. There's no battery. Wait, I have extra dim on. Okay, that's why. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah, now the Moto is... Okay, so I take back everything I said. The Moto has the better display on specs. And now when I'm looking at it, it looks even clearer than the Samsung. So let's talk about colors because they both have very good colors. Let me just lower the volume on this one. And when I want to go into this one right here, the gear icon and HDR quality on the Samsung, they will come up to 2160 60 frames per second, but the Samsung actually has HDR, which is crazy. So, wow, these displays are really competing against one another. It's really hard to tell by just looking at them which one is better. Bigger images on the Samsung. It seems like things just look a little bit bigger. But yeah, Samsung always does really good when it comes to the color accuracy, detail, and true realistic colors. It seems like it's more realistic on the Samsung. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. But let me know what you guys think about both of these displays when it comes to comparing them, side by side. Which one is doing a better job in your opinion? Is very close, but I think that the Samsung display, it just seems a little bit brighter than the Moto, and it also seems a little bit more accurate when it comes to the colors and detail. Now, as far as the operating systems, they're both rocking Android 15. So the Moto is going to have its own skin on top of Android 15. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's very smooth and it's very reliable, and there's never any, stutters or hiccups. They both actually have the same processing chip, which I want to get into the performance next. But we're going to do some gaming as well, but they both actually have the same exact processing chip. The exception is that you can get the 8GB model in the A36 or the 6GB model, 128 storage or 256. I actually opted for the 6GB model for the Galaxy A36 just because it was a little bit cheaper. But the Moto only has the 8GB model with the 256. So they both will have the similar, if not the same amount of performance when it comes to, gaming on both of these devices. But just keep in mind that you can do RAM expansion on both of these devices as well, memory expansion. So if I go into settings, and they both have, one of the things about Samsung and Moto is they also have that sidebar right here, which is really cool to mess with. It's one of the best features with both of these devices is because you can get to your pop-up window and you can make it so that you can manipulate windows and have those windows operate on the display like while you're using them. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. So here are the windows. Let me try the calendar right here. Drop it in the middle. If I tap it on the Moto, they pop up. You don't have to drag them. They just pop up. And with the Samsung, if you tap them, it makes the whole screen fill up. So it's like the opposite for both. So yeah, for the Samsung, you will need to drag it like this in the center for the Moto. All you have to do is, find the app and then not drag it, tap it. So let me see if I could do that real fast. YouTube doesn't have it. So I was on split screen, and you can see that they both do that pop-up window, and you basically can get as many windows as you want running on both of these devices, which is sick. So I really like the multitasking. You can get split screen for both of these as well, and they both have like really a lot of features, too much to actually get into, but the Moto is going to give you the chop feature where you can turn on the flashlight. I also made the side key, double tapping it, my flashlight for the Samsung. But yeah, they both have just so many features. As far as the sound quality though, I just wanted to get into that real quick, because when it comes to both of these devices, we are getting Dolby Atmos as well. So you're going to get extremely good sound quality for both of these devices. And you can see right here a breakdown of what that looks like. So you get the game, movie, music, and smart, as well as spatial audio for the Moto. And on the Dolby, you get the voice, music, movie, and auto for the Dolby Atmos. So really good stuff. Let's do a sound test real quick so I can show you how these both sound compared to one another. All right, so let's do the Moto first. Now let's do the Samsung second. Oh, wait, I have the headphones on. All right, let's do the Samsung now. Turn the volume all the way up, as you can see. And let's do the Moto one more time. Let's do the Samsung one last time. In all honesty, I think that the Moto is just slightly louder when it comes to sound testing both of these devices. Yeah, so as we re-look at the displays, you can see that they're both pretty much identical. Let me unlock this one. When it comes to the brightness, now that I've actually adjusted the Moto might actually be brighter than the Samsung now that I took it off, extra dim. So yeah, just keep that in mind, that the Moto, even though they have similar features when it comes to these devices. You can see the notification panel is on the left right here on the Moto. You could swipe across and get back to it. Same thing with the Samsung. It has the notification panel, then you can swipe across to get to your control panel, and they both have amazing set of features. The Moto is going to have something that I think is really cool. It's called Connect, Smart Connect, which allows you to basically turn the phone into a desktop using an exterior monitor, or even connect it to your smart TV, and it just makes this device very compelling for the price. So yeah, I did a video about that. If you watch my videos on the Moto, you'll find it, and it's actually very sick. So like I was talking about earlier, you have RAM boost on both of these devices. So I'm using 8 gigabytes with the device memory and 4 of the RAM boost, and it's on AI auto as well. And you can also upgrade it to 16 gigabytes of RAM boost on here. And just keep in mind, this one is actually giving us the ability to have, let me go into storage, 256 altogether, and right now only I still have free 140 is being used out of that. So if I go into the Samsung right here, and I go into both of these do also have another cool feature, which is circle to search as well. Let me see something real fast. So this device care, This is going to show me inside of memory that this one is actually using 6 gigabytes of RAM. And you can go right here to RAM plus and expand it up to 6 more gigabytes. So yeah, just keep in mind that the Moto has that up to 12 gigabytes of extension on the memory. But yeah, I don't know if that matters or not, but yeah, you could clean it up with the enhancements. Both of these do have some really good security. The Think Shield is on the Moto, and the Samsung Galaxy Knox, I believe, is on here, which is also a very secure and powerful system. And then you can see right here with the storage, I actually am using the 72 out of the 128 and 128 gigabytes. So half of it is used right now when it comes to the storage on these. So what I like to do is test out the gameplay. Right now I'm going to play a little bit of PUBG on the Galaxy first. So you could kind of see how the performance holds up. It actually, Galaxy right here actually has this feature with like the gaming option. So it lets you block notifications. It gives you tools that you could use to increase the performance. Right now it's on balanced as far as the tools. You can actually make this more optimized. The gaming, it says balanced. It's using 22% of the RAM, and edge panels is blocked. So yeah, you can kind of like edit this and play around with it. You could even hit the gear icon here, and now you can customize it. But right here you can see that if I put it to performance mode, now it's going to be running at maximum levels. And you also have the gaming to 120 or 60. So let's go ahead and continue the gameplay now that I've customized it. And yeah, I'm just gonna play some arena mode on here with team deathmatch. So let's go ahead and play some PUBG on the A36 real fast. All right guys, so we're gonna get into some gameplay right now on the A36. Let's look at the graphics first and see how that's looking before we start. Graphics, you have extreme and balance, so those are pretty good settings. Right away I'm noticing extremely responsive responsive performance. Let's put the very responsive performance. This is absolutely incredible as far as gameplay. So he must have had the sniper. Wow. Okay. So like, let me at least get first like a kill on this phone, and I'll switch to the Moto. All right, I got a kill. I had to work for that one, as it right now I'm noticing a little bit of slowdowns every now and then, but for the most part it's performing very good. The phone seems to get a little bit warm on performance mode. But I was able to get a second kill there, and I think it's performing very well. So let's switch over to the Moto and test out some of the gameplay on the Moto. But yeah, this is really fun. All right, I'm gonna wait. I could get one more dude right here.
Marked a location.
All right, so yeah, let me switch over to the Moto now, and then we'll probably do a speed test and a camera test. So let's switch over to the Moto real fast. All right, so both of these phones, this is the Moto right here, Moto G Stylus 2025, my bad, 2025. So they both have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 Gen 3. They both have 4nm manufacturing with the 64 bits. They both have Adreno 710. The only difference is that my version is the 6GB model on the Samsung, and I don't have the 8GB on the Samsung. I just have this 8GB model on the Moto. So yeah, let's do balanced, just the same settings we had on the same exact settings that I had on the Samsung. So let's go ahead and see if there's any difference. It's probably going to be a little bit more efficient when it comes to speeds. All right, so I got first blood right there, and like, let me keep playing, but right now I'm noticing that there's no slowdowns whatsoever. All right, so I was able to avenge my death. But yeah, I think that the Moto might be a slightly better experience, obviously, because of the RAM difference.
Reloading.
Wow. So yeah, this is crazy. Let's go out of here. Let's do a quick speed test, and then I'll test out the cameras side by side. So let's clear out all the apps. Clear all. And on the count of 3, we're gonna do Meta 1, 2, 3. That was the Samsung. Let's do a few more apps. Let's do Amazon 1, 2, 3. That was the Moto. Let's do the Bible app 1, 2, 3. This is close. That was the Moto. Let's do AliExpress 1, 2, 3. And that was the Moto. Let's do 2 more. So let's do Groupon 1, 2, 3. That was the Moto. Last app to see if the Samsung could kind of redeem itself for the last 3 that it fell back on. Let's just do Music Plus. Let me see if I have that on here. It's in this folder. Actually, nah, let me do the Play Store. 1, 2, 3. That was the Moto. So yeah, you could see that when you compare both of them side by side, the Moto is going to be slightly faster because of the RAM. So let's go into the cameras, and you're going to see that they both have wide angle camera. The features, the new control panel for the Samsung has been improved, which is really cool. You have like face effects right here, which is dope. Let me go back. You can click this little square. You can get to the 50 megapixel as well. If I go into video mode, we actually have HD 30 frames per second and full 4K 30 frames per second. So there's just a lot of features on both of these, and 4K on 30 frames per second as well on the Moto. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about both of these devices. I definitely think both are pretty solid. I do want to do a live camera test side by side to show you how the cameras perform in real life. So I'm going to do that in a separate video. But when it comes to the specs on both of these phones, as far as the cameras, it's going to be pretty close as well. So I just wanted to cover that. So you're getting a 50 megapixel Sony IMX8820. IMX88 on the A36 right here, which is the IMX88 and then the Sony LYT700C is the new sensor in the Moto. They both have 1.8 aperture. They both have a wide angle lens. So the Samsung has the 8 megapixel and the Samsung has the 8 megapixel on the left, and the Moto has the 13 megapixel wide angle. And then the last sensor is a macro, which we have an 8 megapixel macro on the A36 and a 2 megapixel macro on the Moto. So on the front, it's going to be the 5 megapixel on the A36 and the 32 megapixel on the Moto. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about both of these devices. Which one is your favorite? Which one are you looking to pick up? And which one do you think is better? You be the judge. I definitely think that they both have really good features. I think that it's very close in a lot of ways. Obviously, I have the 6 gigabyte model, not the 8 gigabyte model, which is going to make a big difference in this comparison. But if you have the 8 gigabyte model, it'll be a lot closer. But just keep in mind, we do have IP68 on the Moto with a headphone jack and expandable storage. And we have IP67 with no headphone jack and no expandable storage on the A36. And we have more storage depending on which model you're going to get. You're going to have 256 versus 128 on this one. So this one's going to be obviously less than $399 if you get this version. But if this was the 8 gigabyte model, it still wouldn't have the headphone jack or the expansion of the storage. But the main biggest thing is that Samsung offers 6 years of updates with their budget phones. So it's going to get 6 OS updates. So it has Android 15. So it's going to get 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Whereas the Moto is going to get Android 16 and 17, and then that's it. But yeah, most people don't keep their phone for more than a year anyway. So is that a big deal for you? Let me know. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about that in the comment section. But I'm going to hit you guys back. I'll check you guys later. And I'll get back with you later, crew. But if you're still here, just type down in the comment section, I'm still here, so I know you're still kicking it with me. And I just want to remind you to hit the like button so we can get this video out to more people and help beat the YouTube algorithm. I'll hit you back. I'll check you guys later, crew. Namaste.